Hey guys, welcome back. So, with Christmas coming up next week, my son's sick right now, but he should be good next week to watch The Snowman and another Christmas movie we're gonna do for on here. Um, but I also know that you guys celebrate Boxing Day, which I think is the day after Christmas. Um, It's on our calendars here, but it's not really something that I even know what it is, to be honest with you. So one of the subscribers was suggesting that I check it out. There were quite a few videos on it, so I might do more than one. But this particular one is the medieval origins of Boxing Day from Alex, the history guy. I will link the video here in the description, along with a link over to Patreon and a link of how you can support the channel here on YouTube. But yeah, let's just go ahead and jump into it.
The day following Christmas is often regarded as a time for rest in the modern day, time to recover from all the festivities of Christmas Day. If we take a journey back in time, we soon understand that this was not necessarily the case for medieval folk during the Middle Ages. In fact, the joyous traditions continued throughout 2 weeks of near constant festivities, from the sunset of Christmas Eve continuing right up to the evening of January the 5th, known as the 12th day. But why was Boxing Day much more important for medieval people than it is today? The Oxford Dictionary dates the first mention of Boxing Day to 1743, where it describes the event of workers receiving Christmas boxes, a gift from their employers. The term Christmas box can be dated even further back to the 1600s, where it is mentioned in the Samuel Pepys' famous diary. He describes the Christmas box as a gift or gratuity given at Christmas. However, of course, like many things when you delve this far back in history, there are multiple definitions floating around during this time. In fact, the act of giving workers Christmas boxes is a tradition with possible roots to the medieval period.
The medieval people were better to their employees than most of them today are. This is interesting so far. I'm liking it. I love the buildings and the architecture and stuff, the churches, the inside of this. I love this already.
Servants were allowed to go home to their families the day after Christmas, since they would be fulfilling their duties for their master during Christmas Day, by preparing the dinner table and cooking the food. In return, it was customary for the masters of the household to allow the servants to take home the leftovers from Christmas dinner. For example, at Hampton Court during the reign of King Henry VIII, it was noted that fine wines were given away to the servants of the manor on a magnificent scale, where entire barrels were gifted to each servant since they only had a shelf life of 2 to 3 days and would be wasted if not given away. The 26th of December also happens to be the day dedicated to Saint Stephen. Saint Stephen was a deacon at one of the earliest churches in Jerusalem in the early 1st century AD. A deacon is a member of the church, similar to a monk, who would help out with any task that were required, often involving assisting the poor, frail and sick with charitable help. During his time at the church, Stephen angered the local Jewish community, who were the majority in Jerusalem, due to his outspoken ideology in favour of Christianity, which caused many disagreements between the Christians and Jews. Most notably, Christians believed that the only true temple needed to praise God was your own body, and no golden trinkets or silken drapes within any man-made temple were needed, as this was seen as pride and vanity in the eyes of Christian worshippers. The Jewish priests in Jerusalem took great offence to this, as they were making a lot of money from pilgrims paying to visit the golden ornaments, expensive fabrics and rare relics that the Jewish priests had on display in their decorative temples, one of their arguments being that the money raised was then used to feed the poor. Stephen found himself at loggerheads with the Jewish priests one too many times, and he was stoned to death for blasphemy. During his life, he had devoted most of his time collecting food for the sick and the less fortunate. For this, and for his outlandish methods of spreading the word of Christianity, he was martyred. Originally, the day of St. Stephen was on the 3rd of August, the day of his martyrdom. However, during the early medieval period, the day of remembrance for his sainthood was moved to the 26th of December. Like many things in history, it is impossible to place an exact date when a tradition began. But during the late Roman period, it is recorded that alms boxes were placed in churches, which were then filled during Christmas Day with offerings to the poor. These boxes were collected by the deacons and distributed amongst the poor the following day. During the Middle Ages, the monks in Britain took this tradition one step further. Since Stephen was known as a dedicated saint of deacons, monks would imitate the role he played during his lifetime by setting up big tables inside friaries, which were dotted all over medieval towns and cities during this time. The alms boxes were then collected from the church as usual, but this time the donated food was taken back to the friary kitchens, and the monks would prepare a feast to be placed upon these large tables. The poor, sick, orphans, and the elderly were then invited to the friary, where they could sit down and tuck into these fabulous yet humble feasts that the monks had prepared for them. This feast took place on the day after Christmas, and was known as the Feast of Stephen, a phrase made popular due to a well-known festive song, Good King Wenceslas. The Feast of Stephen is just one of many charitable roles that friaries offered during the medieval period. In the Middle Ages, Christianity was much more involved in everyday life, providing a vital role for everyone regardless of status, and was the backbone of medieval society. While it is not known if the average medieval citizen truly believed in religion, we can be sure that the festival days were viewed as very important. It is something to look forward to, an opportunity to put down the scythe and spend a day with family and friends. Time to forget about work for a little while, and just enjoy the sense of community as everyone would chip in to help out with the festivities. Brewing a few extra barrels of ale, fishing a few extra trout, setting up some extra tables in the local tavern, or perhaps providing the music. Festivals like Boxing Day was a highly anticipated and thoroughly enjoyed day for everyone during the Middle Ages. And it is important to note that throughout these festivities, they never forgot to give a little back by donating the leftover food they had, so that the less fortunate could share a portion of the enjoyment and warmth of the common man. Despite my fascination with medieval religion, I am not a religious person myself, yet I still appreciate the importance of these festivities and understand how vital it is to keep these traditions alive for future generations to come. But for now, thanks for watching and Happy New Year.
That was a really good video. I liked that. I loved the images and the church, the old churches and stuff that were in there. I just think that stuff's so interesting and pretty. Having grown up going to Catholic church, and we used to have to go to mass at least once a week at school. As a kid, and as an adult, it's not the most fun thing. It's kind of boring, to be honest with you. At least I always thought so. I know a lot of people do enjoy it, but for me, I would just kind of stand there or sit there and just look at the the beautiful colored windows and the just the architecture, the arches and stuff in the church is kind of what would occupy me through it. And hearing that, I'm sure that I've had to have learned that going to Catholic school. I'm sure that I heard all about Boxing Day and St. Stephen. I'm positive I did. There's no way I went through it and didn't. I just don't remember. It was a long time ago. Um, and obviously it didn't stay with me, but a really interesting story. Um, I think you take away from that you should give back and give to charity and give to people that are less fortunate, um, which I think you should do whether you're in a religion or not. Um, but yeah, really good story. Great suggestion from you guys to check it out. Like I said, there are a couple other videos that I have about it that I might take a look at as well. One that kind of focuses on some of the traditions for it, maybe a little more in depth. But yeah, great video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hit the like button, subscribe, share, hype, all that jazz. If you um, are able to hype the video, I don't think you can do it on your TV, but you should be able to do it on your phone. Um, but it's kind of in the same vein as where like the share and stuff is. If you see that hype, you get a couple hypes that you can do every week, and that just helps the video get seen more. Absolutely free to do, and it helps me and the channel out a lot. So if you could do that, please do so. And yeah, thanks guys for watching with me, and have an awesome day.